Hello, and welcome back to Tidbit of Torah. Sometimes life can seem like a series of endings and beginnings. We conclude schools and begin new ones. We conclude jobs and begin new ones, or we enter retirement. We say goodbye to friends or to presidents, and we welcome in new friends, new presidents, and new lives. And how do we make meaning out of all these endings and beginnings? Well, this week's Torah portion, Parshat Vayechi, from the very end of the book of Genesis, offers us a beautiful answer. We find it through the last verse of chapter 49, when our patriarch Jacob breathes his last breath. How does it describe Jacob's death? Well, it says that he finished giving his instructions to his children, and then he gathered his feet into the bed, he breathed his last breath, and then he was gathered by his kin. As you might notice, the word gather, the verb, is repeated twice in this verse, to emphasize that at the end of life, or the end of anything, it is so important, according to this story, and I would argue according to the whole book of Genesis, to gather. Why? Well, gathering is a way of witnessing, and witnessing is so crucial so that we can be in the presence of other, to witness a moment of transition, to honor that moment, and then to move on. Gathering is also important to feel a sense of comfort or joy or sadness, or to be able to feel that sense of community that we need, and as in a time when we're saying Kaddish, a time of mourning, or a time in which we need to not be alone in the world. Sometimes people ask me, is it that important for me to invite people to my loved one's funeral? And I think, as we see here with Jacob, the answer to that is yes. It is important that these crucial endings and the beginnings of life, that there are people to witness, to comfort, to gather with us. Even the name of our forefather Joseph can be understood to come from this same Hebrew word meaning to gather, Aleph Samech Pei, Yosef, meaning to gather or to add. So I would argue that this Torah portion and all of Genesis, perhaps the whole Torah, is emphasizing to us, just as the book by Priya Parker, The Art of Gathering, showed us how important it is to be intentional about gathering. The Torah teaches us the why of why gathering is important and why it is holy for each of us. I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a happy gathering. May we find meaning in those connections at times of ending and also of times of new beginnings. Shabbat Shalom.